This is my bike, this is me, and this is what I did on the weekend. But unfortunately, I spent quite a bit of time doing this as well. Getting a cut in your tyre can be a bit disappointing, especially when gravel tyres are so expensive. Mamma mia! And onto the fact that I ride with 650B and I'm a bit picky about my tan walls, sometimes repairing the tyre is the best course of action. In this video, I'm going to go through the steps that I take to fix a tyre to get a bit more life out of it so I don't need to cash out on a new pair. Now what I'm pointing at here in the video is that I have used plugs in the past to fix this puncture, but the thing is, plugs are not a very good permanent solution because over time they can fall out, they can get pushed out by the pressure, and they can also just deteriorate. So you need to do a proper fix if you want these tyres to last a long time. Now before I start the video, this bike needs a proper wash. It is mucky and dirty from my ride on the weekend, and also because I use tubeless, all the sealant has sprayed out and gone all over the bike, so let's give the bike a wash first. So I've got two strategies to make my tyres last longer. The first is I'm going to apply a proper patch on the inside of the tyre, and the second is I'm going to swap around my front and my rear tyres. Now the reason for this is because the rear tyre always experiences a lot more wear and tear since your body weight is over the rear tyre. The only things I'm going to use today is this patch repair kit and some more sealant. Now the patch repair kit that I'm using is about $7, but in the absence of this, you can just use a cut up piece of rubber from an old tyre, and you'll need a good rubber adhesive which you can usually buy from Bunnings, as well as some sandpaper. The first step is to remove the tyre and thoroughly clean the inside of the tyre. This is especially true if you use tubeless since there'll be sealant all over the place. Pay special attention to the area around the puncture, as you want this area to be as clean as possible. If you're using a patch repair kit, there should be a rough piece of metal in the kit which will let you make an abrasive surface when rubbed against the inside of the tyre. If you don't have this, use a rough piece of sandpaper, and the goal is to make a surface where two pieces of rubber can have good contact with each other. Now for the rubber adhesive. You would want to apply this generously in that roughened patch area. Let it sit for a couple of minutes. When you first pour it out of the tube, it'll be quite liquidy and you want it to be more like a gel. Now apply the patch of rubber which you prepared earlier onto the adhesive area. You want to hold this very firmly and ensure all corners and edges of the rubber patch are pressed down firmly and sealed so no air can escape. Now if you're using inner tubes, you can always put the tyre back on the wheel and then pump up the inner tube which will press the patch against the wall of the tyre. But if you're using tubeless like me, you're going to have to hold it for a bit longer. Now for the last step, which is putting sealant in the tyre. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for the volume of sealant that needs to go in, and make sure that you bounce the tyre around afterwards once it's inflated to make sure that you have good coverage of sealant within the tyre. Now, I had a really awkward moment. Usually I can get the tyre to seat onto the bead of the rim with no issues, but today I had a lot of issues. I used the pump, would not work. I tried using some CO2s, but for some reason they weren't inflating it, so I had to get a little bit external help. Thanks to Alfonso. The trick Alfonso used was to take out the valve core out of the valve. This allowed more airflow into the tyre to get it to seat properly. Another alternate is to use an air compressor, but I don't have one of those handy, so the next best thing is getting my friend to help me. I hope you find this guide useful. It helps you save some money, and you can spend that on the things that really matter, like the coffee and the pastries. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.